students who start out in the program, they realize at some point that their circumstances do not define their future. And once they realize that they can do something different, they can break the cycle of poverty, they can break a cycle of abuse or violence or whatever they came from, and see that life can be different. Life can be better, and the rewards of education is something that no one can ever take away from them. And I think there's a richness in that. So once they discover that, they feel confident and they feel that there's nothing that they can't do. And that's exciting.
Growing up, I don't ever think that we thought about our future. There were 5 kids in our family, and we were never talked to about college. It wasn't an option. In fact, it was kind of made fun of, if anything. And so my mom works at a Burgerville, and she's always had jobs like that. And so I guess I saw that as my future, that I would be doing something like that and raising a family, and that's just what people did, and struggling through life. And I think that when I entered Gateway, I realized that that didn't have to be. And so it changed my future. I could make something of myself, and I could have a job that I loved going to every day, and I could not struggle so much. I think that I remember being like 8 or 9 years old and thinking, you know, when I grow up, all I want to do is pay the rent. That's all I want to do is be able to pay the rent, so my family doesn't get kicked out of a house, you know, every few months. And I guess I saw education as a way to accomplish that.
I think it takes about a year or 2 to see the transformation, because the first year I see a lot of my students. They have classes with me, you know, they have required meetings with me. So when you see them so often, you don't always kind of notice the change that they're having. But after a year, they're in the college classes, they don't have to come see me as often, and suddenly I find myself saying, oh my gosh, this person is different. And it's both in kind of the way they talk, the way they carry themselves. So for example, when they first come in the program, they may really talk about, oh, you know, the teacher hate me, the school doesn't accept me, you know, I just don't get this textbook. But a year later, you start to hear them talking about, okay, I have this problem and I need to go get tutoring. Totally a shift in how they see the problem. There's also that physical transformation. So many students come in when they're 16 years old, they just left high school, they want to be accepted in the high school environment. But after a year, I see the way they dress is different. They don't care so much about necessarily how they look all the time, but they're focusing on the academics. So they're wearing sweats, the girls, their hair is up in a ponytail. They just look like college students. So there's both that kind of mental shift as well as a physical shift. And it's beautiful to see them change like that, because now they seem more mature and responsible.
There's quite a transformation process in students. They come in a little fearful, a little, what's the right word? Full of attitude, but that only is a cover for their sense of insecurity. So you get quite a bit of high school drama. That's one thing, being a high school teacher before. We went through several teachers at Laney College who were college instructors, and the classroom management part was difficult. So you get a lot of that. You have to work through it. I mean, I'm a grandma type, right? I can say you wouldn't treat your grandmother that way, so why me? You know, little short white lady, and I'm teaching 95% diverse population. But bit by bit, like peeling an onion or an apple, you get down to the core personality and the core capabilities inside a student. And it's just more dramatic than most classrooms. By the end of the semester, they're real. They're asking for help. I've never been able to write a decent paper. I don't get what Janie Crawford is doing in Their Eyes Were Watching God. That's the novel we use. And so then they become open students. So what I'm trying to say is the opening process of genuine learning is extremely dramatic. We're talking about within 1 year turning a dropout into a college level student. That's huge, huge.